When you think of the devil, what's the first image that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's this one single character. But in literature, the devil really is in the details. Today, we're going to dig into two of the most famous adversaries ever put to paper: Satan from the biblical book of Job and Mephistopheles from Goethe's absolute masterpiece, Faust. And as you're about to see, the differences between them tell us a whole lot more than just literary history. They show a real change in how we even think about evil itself.
I mean, at first glance, you'd think they're basically the same guy, right? There's a wager with God, a human soul is caught in the middle. But are they really just the same devil with a different name? The answer is a huge, emphatic no. And figuring out why they're so different uncovers this incredible evolution in our ideas about temptation and evil.
Okay, so here's where it all starts. In both the book of Job and in Faust, the whole story gets rolling because of this cosmic bet made up in the heavens over one single human being. But, and this is the really cool part, this similarity is exactly where the most interesting differences start to pop up.
All right, first things first. Let's talk about their job descriptions. Who are these guys, officially? What's their actual position in the grand cosmic scheme of things? Because as you're about to see, they are not on the same level. Not even close.
And boom, right away you see this massive contrast. In the book of Job, Satan is basically part of the heavenly court. Think of him as a divine prosecutor, an employee whose job it is to test people. Mephistopheles, on the other hand, he's a total outsider. He calls himself a spirit of negation, a demon from hell who's actively trying to mess up the divine plan. And to really get a handle on this, just look at Satan's name. In the original Hebrew, it's Ha-Satan. That's not a name like Bob or Steve. It's a job title. It literally means the accuser or the adversary. He has a specific, almost bureaucratic role to play. He isn't some rebel leader. He's on the celestial payroll. But then you've got Mephistopheles, who introduces himself with this absolutely brilliant paradoxical line. He's all about chaos and destruction, but even he admits that, ironically, all his troublemaking just ends up serving some higher purpose, pushing things forward. He's a cosmic nihilist, not a divine employee. So if they have totally different jobs, it just makes sense they'd have totally different motivations, right? So what's the actual point of their bets? What is each of them really trying to prove to God? For Satan, the wager is pretty simple, and honestly, super cynical. His whole argument is that Job's goodness is completely transactional. He says, look, Job's only faithful because you've given him everything. Take all that stuff away, and I guarantee you his faith will totally shatter. It's a test of integrity under extreme pressure. Mephistopheles, though, his goal feels way more modern, way more psychological. His bet is that he can make the brilliant, always striving Dr. Faust so ridiculously happy, so satisfied with one single moment of pleasure, that Faust will lose that divine spark inside him, that unstoppable drive to learn more, do more, and be more. So let's just break that down, side by side. This is the absolute core of it. Satan wants to prove that human goodness is just a selfish deal we make with God. Mephistopheles wants to prove that the human spirit itself can just run out of gas, that our ambition can be completely smothered by contentment. Okay, so different goals, which means they need completely different game plans, right? How do they actually go about trying to win these very different bets? Well, their methods are polar opposites. It really just boils down to subtraction versus addition. Satan's entire strategy is to take things away. He strips Job of everything: his family, his money, his health, using pain as his primary tool. Mephistopheles does the exact opposite. He gives Faust everything he could possibly dream of: youth, magic, power, love, using pleasure as his weapon. And of course, their methods totally shape their personalities. The Satan we meet in Job is this formal, deadly serious figure. He's like that celestial lawyer we talked about, just making his case. He's distant, he's adversarial, and he's focused purely on the cold, hard facts of the bet. Mephistopheles, on the other hand, is anything but distant. He's charming, he's incredibly witty, he's sophisticated, and he's deeply, deeply cynical. He becomes Faust's partner in crime, his personal tour guide to all of life's pleasures. He's a devil you could actually imagine having a drink with. All right, time to put all the pieces together. We've looked at their roles in the cosmos, their ultimate goals, and their very different methods. So here's the final scorecard, the tail of the tape, side by side.
So check this out. This table really lays it all bare. Every single part of who they are, from their cosmic job title right down to their personality, is just fundamentally different. On one side, you have this divine functionary who tests our integrity with pain. And on the other, you have this nihilistic, witty tempter who tests our ambition with pleasure. They really could not be more different.
So, after all that, here's the million-dollar question, right? After all the suffering and all the temptation, who actually wins? Does the devil finally get his due? Well, spoiler alert, they both lose. Satan fails because Job, even after losing everything, never curses God. Yeah, he questions and he complains, but he never renounces his faith, which proves it wasn't just a transaction. And Mephistopheles fails because Faust never becomes complacent. Even at the moment of his death, he's still dreaming, still planning, still striving for more. He never finds that one perfect moment he wants to freeze in time forever.
At the end of the day, this whole journey from Satan to Mephistopheles shows this amazing evolution. From an evil that is external, a cosmic opponent, to an evil that is internal, a psychological temptation. It kind of mirrors a shift in what we fear. We went from fearing an evil that happens to us to an evil that rises up from within us. So the question that leaves us with is, what do we fear more today? Suffering that tests our faith, or satisfaction that kills our ambition?